Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome to Guns N' Roses Central, and we got your news for today. So one of the biggest news stories that broke that is kind of a confusing story because I don't really know what to make of it. And this is just a rumor. So the story is that Guns N' Roses manager Fernando may have revealed when we could see the next Guns N' Roses album. So the story goes is that there's a guy on the Guns N' Roses subreddit named evedbanah, which people assumed was Fernando. And there's a guy on my GNR forums named Murph. So the guy who's using the handle, whether it's real Fernando or not, on the GNR subreddit, confirmed that the new GNR release will drop within the next 6 months, and what will be Axl and Slash's first original collaboration in 28 years. So somebody had posted this on the MyGNR forums, this news, and it was immediately locked because the moderator said, hey, we can't confirm if this is Fernando or not. But then the thread was reopened, and the moderators actually reached out to Fernando, but they claimed that Fernando wouldn't even answer the question as to whether that was him on Reddit or not, which raises a lot of suspicions. So one of the moderators said the following on the MyGNR forums, saying, we were in contact with Fernando directly today. He was asked 3 times throughout the conversation if the Reddit account was his, but he chose not to answer that question during the course of the conversation. So due to his dodging of a direct question 3 times, we'll just assume the account is his. Now, the exchange that happened on Reddit went like this. Somebody named Murph asked him, is there a new title for the next Guns N' Roses album? Do you have a general idea of when we'll see it? By the way, Perhaps would make a great single. Perhaps was one of the leaked songs that came out the last couple of weeks, to which Fernando wrote, don't know the title. Even if I did, I couldn't share it until the guys did within the next 6 months. So make of that what you guys will. I really wish that Axl would hire professional management because these guys are like the least professional people, at least Team Brazil is. Because there was another news story that broke with them. So a couple of weeks ago, Susan Holmes McKagan, who was Duff's wife, posted a photo that shocked a lot of fans. It was her and Stephanie Seymour, who was Axl Rose's ex back in the 90s. And as you guys know, Betta, who is Fernando's mom and is also Axl's assistant, used to work for Stephanie Seymour, and that's how she met Axl. But apparently because Stephanie and Axl had this huge falling out, Betta has been pretty hostile to Stephanie ever since. And because Susan posted a photo with Stephanie Seymour, apparently it was enough that Betta unfollowed Duff's wife on Instagram. And it's also important to note that Duff's wife is a supermodel, or she used to be a model, and she probably knows Stephanie Seymour from those days. In fact, she didn't even really know Duff when he was in Guns N' Roses back in the early 90s. They wouldn't meet until 1996 or 1997. But I thought it was really petty of her to unfollow her. And not only that, Betta would get into an argument with one of the commenters on the Instagram post as well. So the person who responded that got Betta upset said something along the lines of, wow, Stephanie Seymour looks beautiful. You really missed out, Axl. To which Betta said, don't make any comments regarding Axl when you have no clue what you're talking about. And what really frustrates me is they make these kind of comments, but then they don't even elaborate on what they are. And then people get upset. If they were smart, they should just stay out of the whole thing and not even get involved like professional management would. And this weekend, Guns N' Roses would play the Louder Than Life Festival, and to basically celebrate that feat, Guns N' Roses on their merchandise site have a limited number of these Guns N' Roses baseball bats. They're Louisville Sluggers to honor the fact they were in Louisville, Kentucky, and they have the signature of Axl, Slash, and Duff laser engraved on the baseball bat, but it's still up for sale. I guess they haven't sold out of these yet. They retail for about $60, and this isn't quite as bad as those toy trucks that Guns N' Roses was selling a couple of months ago on their website as like limited edition pieces. Speaking of the Louder Than Life Festival, Margot, who's like a super fan, posted this on Instagram. This is the merch that was being sold at the Louder Than Life Festival. I imagine if you guys are going to see Guns N' Roses at any of the upcoming shows, they'll probably have similar merchandise as well. And it looks like most of them are retailing for about $40, $45 for a lot of these t-shirts. Turning now to some Melissa Reece news. This was posted by her after their Charlotte show last week. And she kind of insinuated her and Axl have a prank war going on, saying, you were all amazing. That was a sick amount of fun, an amazing way to kick off this leg of the tour. Thank you so much for showing us that much love. What a night. Here's some BTS day off pics. More to come. Love the city. You were all kind and warm. She also said, Axl for being the most silly and fun thorn in my side that I have always happened to love to the effing death. It may be 1-0 now, but I will have my revenge, oh yes. And then she would go on to thank her family and her bandmates as well for helping her become a better person. Turning now to some Steel Panther news, the legendary metal band just dropped a new album last week called Heavy Metal Rules. I listened to a bit of it, and I gotta say, I'm a little disappointed. It's not as their first few albums were so good, but ever since 2017's Lower the Bar, Their work hasn't been quite as good, but they're still an amazing band to see live and one of the best live shows I've been to. So they opened for Guns N' Roses in the past, and they were interviewed on Brando's podcast, Appetite for Distortion. And they talked a bit about opening for GNR, and they revealed a funny Axl story we previously heard, but they shed some more light on it.
So Brando asked them, I was wondering if you guys had any Guns N' Roses experiences, to which one of the members responded, we opened for Guns N' Roses at the Forum in Inglewood, California. We weren't allowed to soundcheck because Axl Rose was taking a nap. And the other member said, I'm not kidding. And I say this as a story as oh, he's a jerk or anything like that. They go on to say, I think it's an awesome story. And they were told, guys, we have to hold off on soundcheck. And we were like, why? And we had just gotten the call 3 days before the show. I don't know if they didn't have an opener. It didn't matter because it was sold out and people were there to see Guns N' Roses. Steel Panther weren't going to add anything to the bill, but it was just a cool opportunity for us. And we were like, when we get the call from Guns N' Roses, you answer it. So we were at the Forum at Inglewood and they were like, guys, we got to hold off on soundcheck. And we were like, we want to just soundcheck. And since we were so excited, they're like, Axl Rose is taking a nap. So because they couldn't sound check, the guys just decided to basically throw a football around the arena until Axl was up from his nap. That concludes today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like button and subscribe. And as always, go check out gnrcentral.com for the latest Guns N' Roses news. Take care.